Okay, and I'm gonna take my glasses off because I hate them. I need to get contact. All right, and in three, two, and one. Hi, friends. Welcome to Live, Learn, Let Go. My name's Jessica, your hostess, and here today I have Marquise. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Yay! I guessed that one too. I didn't ask you before the video. I do. And then I was like, let me just guess and see what comes out of my mouth today. And it came out. We met when we were playing Spotlight on May 10th in episode 4. You can find us on YouTube. And we were strangers when we first met. If you watch the game, we only get about a minute each round to really chit chat with each other, sometimes up to 2 or 3 minutes. So me and Marquette, oh my gosh.
You had it the first time.
It comes out right the first time, but other times it does not. We did not get much time to really chit chat as friends. So here we are today to get to know each other a little teeny tiny bit more. So, how are you, friend?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited you're here. So, tell me a little bit about how you found out about the spotlight.
I found out about the spotlight. I want to say it was I saw an ad on Instagram and I was like, oh, the spotlight. It's a game. They're recruiting people to play. And I've actually known Alex and I think most of the people that are on production for the spotlight since 2020 when I was involved in the sequester world. Like I
Okay.
played probably with all of them at one point or another. And fun fact, I actually played the first iteration of Spotlight back in 2020. And so that's why when I saw the ad, I was like, wait, didn't I play this before? So I went back to my Twitter DMs all the way back to 2020 and I saw that they had invited me to play that time. And I'm like, oh, I did play this game and I did well. So I'm like, why not just try again? It's been a couple years since I was like really active in the ORG world, and I've kind of been like dabbling of getting my feet wet back in that whole world of games and stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna just go for it, and I did, and I was actually chosen as an alternate for the first episode,
Okay.
but they ended up asking me to do it like literally 30 minutes before I needed to be on. And by that time, I was like, yeah, I'm not getting it. So, like, I wasn't able to do it. But then luckily, they ended up calling me for the May 10th game and it worked out.
Yeah, and you got to meet me, and now look where we're at today.
I know, right?
Everything happens for a reason. What a small world. So, what did
Exactly.
you think about Spotlight compared to Sequester? Because you played Sequester before. I know I've been hearing that Spotlight is very, very similar, but how are they similar and how are they different to you?
Yeah. So, I mean, the social aspect of both games is pretty similar. Like, you don't have a lot of time to make a first impression or an impression, really. And you're just trying to really use your social skills as great as you can to get to know complete strangers from who knows where in the world and how you're building relationships and how you are maintaining trust and loyalty and things of that nature to get from one round to the next. I think that both of the games have a lot of unpredictability. A lot of it comes down to your social and strategic strategy, but then also there's a lot of luck involved as well. And I think that that kind of that the element of unknown is kind of what really draws me to games like this. I will say that with Sequester, you have a lot more time to socialize with people and you have a lot more freedom. There's breakout rooms, so you're able to go around and talk with different people. And the Spotlight, like you could really go half of the game without having a one-on-one with certain people, like at all, if you've never been in Spotlight. So like it's very different and you have to be very, very contrived with every single move that you make in the Spotlight. And that was something that I knew going into the game. Did it completely work out how I wanted to? No. And I think you do kind of still underestimate how much time you don't have to do certain things in the game. But still, like I'm proud with how I played the Spotlight. I don't know that I would have done too many things differently. I'm pretty proud of the game that I played. I wish it would have ended differently, but
Yeah.
I'm glad with what I was able to do.
Exactly. And it was my first time ever playing anything like that. And the fact that I made it to jury, I was like, yay, I did good. And
That's always like that first benchmark of like, okay, let me get to jury and I'm happy. Now let me
exactly.
win. Like, and it's
I
like
wasn't
great.
expecting me to be the first one to jury, but at least I made it that far. And I was pretty proud of the game that I played because I went in there with the idea of like, we don't have much time, it's game talk. And so like anytime I was on the camera with someone, I'm like, let me talk game, let me talk game, let me talk game. And sometimes talking too much game probably got me to where I didn't make a bond with Kelsey, and she was more looking for bonds than gameplay. So that was kind of probably where I was like, uh-oh, oops. But that was the only thing I probably could have done a little bit differently. But for the most part, for me, I really enjoyed the way I played too.
Yeah.
And I
I think
still
we both played really good games.
we got to work in an alliance together.
We did, and I was like, that was my ride or die alliance. Like that was the one
Yeah.
that I was gonna really, really stick to throughout. The issue is I didn't get Spotlight again. Like if I
Yeah.
were able to get Spotlight again, I think that things would have been very different because I was actually gonna get out Davion or Tasia, which I think would have changed the trajectory of the game.
Yeah.
But once I kept going for it and I was noticing they weren't giving it to me, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm screwed.
Yep. Well, and then my spotlight kind of was a little bit shifted too, because I got screwed with a twist where I only got to talk with two people. And then again, when you came on, what was your spotlight? You had a double spotlight, right?
Double spotlight, yeah. So
Yeah,
you and I talked, it was always with one other person. Like we
exactly.
never got to talk one on one,
No,
both
so
because of both of our spotlights.
yeah, both of our spotlights. So you kind of had a twist too, but at least you got to, did you get to talk to more people, or was it only, how many people did you get to talk to on your spotlight?
We got to talk to everyone. It just they talked to me and Steven at the same time.
Okay, well, at least you got to talk to everybody. They didn't do that for me because I was secret. And I'm like,
Yeah.
everybody knew that it was me. There was no secret about it. That was such a silly twist. It was like, you guys
Mm-hmm.
tried, but I was not going to stay a secret because I knew everybody knew it was me.
They would have figured it out either way, I feel like.
And I'm like, why was I going to stay a secret at that point? It's just kind of silly.
Hmm.
So how else do you think that spotlight went? How do you feel about the ending? How do you feel about the jury? How do you feel about the winner?
I feel like once we got to the jury phase, things got pretty cutthroat. Like people were really like going back on their words, straight up lying. Like it became it became really intense at that point. Um, I think that I thought I was in a better position than I was because I was not aware of the fact that Tasia and Kelsey knew each other and that Tasia knew who Davion was. I think that three right there and those pregame connections kind of like I don't want to say it dictated the game, but that just we went into the game with a bond that was never going to be broken,
Yeah.
which I think in a game like this, where you don't have as much time to socialize with people, like really changes things.
Mhm.
So, I mean, granted, it's a game. You never know what elements you're going to have to face and get through or get over to win. So, like, that's really beyond your control. But I think that, like I said, had I gotten the spotlight at least one more time, I was already just on the wavelength of breaking up that whole trio, and I wanted to get either Tasia or Davion out, and I just never got that chance. Um, I will say that when Tasia got that spotlight over the round that she eliminated me, I think I was the first person to speak with her, and like I made her a deal. I was like, "Look, I'm gonna go really hard to get spotlight next round. If you keep me safe, I promise to keep you safe."
Mhm.
And she was like, "Oh, you didn't even have to plead your case to me. Like you're good in my book, like no matter what. Like I was keeping you anyway."
Yeah.
Cut to the elimination, and she's like, "I really didn't want to have to do this." And I said I wouldn't, but Marquise, I'm getting rid of you. And I'm like,
Oh,
blind side of the
yeah,
century. Like,
exactly.
and in my mind, like at the time, of course, I didn't have all the information that I have now, but in my mind, I'm like, I try to play these games as honest and upfront as I can be. Like, obviously, there's going to be times where you have to lie, you have to tell people things that are not true. But I try to be as real and as me and authentic as possible. And I think that's why I do really well in games like this because I'm just 100% me. Like, I'm not going to tell you a lie for no reason. And
Mhm.
in that moment, I felt like she had lied to me for no reason. And so I don't want to say I was salty, but it definitely made me a bitter juror. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that is really bad jury management. So that's why when it came time for me to vote for the winner, I couldn't vote for her because I was like, you told me an unnecessary lie. Like
Yeah.
that, and granted, like watching back, I can see that she changed her mind after speaking to me. But it's like in that case, don't go making promises that you can't keep. Either way, like if you got bad jury management, you end up losing because of that. Don't blame the juror, blame yourself. And like that's just kind of how I felt. Obviously, she ended up winning, which I think she deserved to win. But in terms of my vote, she just wasn't gonna get it because of that.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what's crazy is when I was in Spotlight, I was down to my two people who I was stuck between eliminating was Jovi, who I eliminated, and Kelsey. Could you imagine if I
Mm,
would have eliminated Kelsey and I was this close for it happening? I like now looking back, I'm like, shoot, I should have done it. But I'm like,
right,
I was a girls, and I was already knew that I had my eye set on you and Mike working with. So I'm like, I can't keep too many men around. So let me eliminate a men. That way I have a couple that I'm close with, and then I can work with the girls.
right,
So that's what I kind
smart.
of was going off of. But now looking back, I'm like, shoot. That would have been spicy of a game if Kelsey was gone second round.
It would have changed things so much.
Yeah, it really would have. But it's like you like think of all the what ifs with these games of like, what if I would have done that? What if I would have done this? And even 3 weeks later, I'm still thinking about the what ifs. Like, what if I would
Me
have
too.
and but it's not in a bad way, not where I'm like going crazy over it. But every once in a while when I'm bored, I'm like, man, what if I would have done that on Spotlight?
Right. It's a natural thing to think about. Like your mind just like plays a million different scenarios of how like if I would have done this, then this wouldn't have happened. So this might have happened and just like it's just a natural thing to think about.
Yeah, and then it makes you want to keep playing and playing and playing. It's almost that's how the addiction starts.
Exactly.
They get you at first spotlight, huh?
Hmm.
So you've played Sequester, you've played Spotlight. We've chatted a little bit off camera, something we can't talk about. You have things coming up in the future. Is there any reality TV shows like Survivor, Big Brother, maybe The Challenge, or whatever those games out there that maybe you have hopes of trying to audition for or maybe being on in the future?
Yeah, totally. I mean, like my dream ever since I was a kid was to be on reality TV. Like I'm talking like elementary school when other kids were like, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a firefighter. I was like, I want to be on the real world when I get older. So like I've been a lifelong reality TV fan. Like I've watched Survivor from the beginning, Big Brother from the beginning, The Challenge from the beginning. Those so they've always been like an integral part of my life that like I feel like at some point or another, like I will get on one of those shows. I know that like to get on them, especially in this day and age, you have to like be dedicated to applying every single cycle and like
Um,
making a new video, like really like honing in on your character and like turning that energy all the way up. So like it is a big to do, especially for someone with ADHD.
yeah,
Um,
I feel
but
you.
once I like lock into that,
That
I feel like
hyperfixation is insane when we get it.
exactly. Like once I really like lock into that, like I would love to do, I feel like my ideal show would probably be Big Brother. I feel like I could like handle being locked out from the outside world for that amount of time. And I love the competitions. I love the setup of the game. Um,
We
I
could be in Big
hate
Brother
I,
together.
I-
I
that would be
know
insane.
I said the
Run that
same thing
house
to
like the
Josh.
Navy.
I thought the same thing I said to Josh because from BB Spoilers, when we were chatting during his interview, he said he would love to be on Big Brother. I'm like, dude, Big Brother, BB Alliance, let's go. And all the spotlighters on there, like, could you imagine if it was nothing but a house of people who knew each other, what would happen?
It'd be a bloodbath.
It would be
Like
such a bloodbath. Oh
it
my
would be intense.
God.
Like I would love to do Big Brother, but I would also I am curious of how doing Survivor would change me as a person because I know that like doing Survivor really like takes you to the limits of like your sanity and like what you're capable of doing and like
Yeah.
really just changes you as a person and like I think at the core that's something that's always like intrigued me the most about reality TV. Like you're put into this like pressure cooker, you're put into this
Yeah.
fishbowl to not only allow the world to watch you and analyze you, but then after going back, you're able to like watch and analyze yourself. And like the characters that I've like loved the most from any show that I've ever watched are the ones that like go in as one person, like completely like are broken down to like their insecurities and vulnerabilities and come out like a different person and like talk about after the fact like how much they were changed by that experience and the people that they met and things that they went through and like that's what I want to experience. And I feel like going through Survivor would be that for me. I actually my the first LRG I did was called Live to Give, and it was in Minnesota,
Oh,
and
cool.
it's a Survivor based game. And
Yeah.
so it was 4 days in the woods, no amenities, no anything. It was very much a real Survivor experience. And even in those 4 short days, like I realized how much of a person that I like changed. Like I did not prior to that, if you would have told me that I'd be sleeping outside in the woods for 4 nights and not having toothpaste or food or any of those things, competing in these physical challenges, I would be like, you're crazy. But like I did it, and I placed fifth. I made it all the way to the end. Like I was like super proud of the game that I played. I made lifetime friendships from that game, and like I feel like that changed me as a person. So like I would love to experience that on a grander level, on like an actual like
Mhm.
reality TV show.
Yeah, I never ever, so for a while, the only show I could picture myself on was Big Brother, just because of like my story and my connection with it, the way it helped me through a hard time, and how I found out that I'm bipolar from auditioning for Big Brother. Like, I just had this special
Oh,
connection for it. But now that I've done different LRGs that are Survivor based, I can see myself actually doing Survivor more. And I can see myself doing Big Brother. And I'm like, I've never auditioned for Survivor. I've only auditioned for Big Brother. But when I first tried out last year for Big Brother, my husband was like, you should do Survivor. And I'm like, why would I do Survivor? You have to be super strong to do that show. And then I realized after watching it a little bit more and after I doing all these all RGs, is like it doesn't matter about your physicality. It matters how you play the game. And so now I'm like,
hmm.
I will play anything and everything that comes my way just because it's fun. I'm learning so much about myself in each game that I play, whether it's a big game or a little game. I'm thriving and I'm getting better and better. And that's all that matters to me. And it's like there's so much growth that you have within these games within just yourself. And then the fact that like I document everything and I vlog everything just because I have so many people that like love seeing what I do. And it's very interesting to me that people like to see what I do. I'm like, it's kind of weird because I went from never posting to always posting every day. So it's just kind of a very new thing for me that I'm grasping onto, but I'm not getting negative feedback. So it keeps me going. And
That's
so
awesome.
kind of posting and showing people that like just because you struggle with being bipolar or you have BPD or you have anxiety or depression, no matter what you battle with and no matter what you struggle with, you can still go and do things like this. It doesn't stop you. It makes it a little bit harder, of course, but it does not stop you from being able to have the capabilities of doing it. And for a while, I thought I could never do it because of the things that I struggled with. But now being casted for these LRGs and these ORGs, I'm like, I'm capable of anything. I just have to really put my mind to it and believe in myself. And once I started doing that, here we are.
Yeah, you never know what can happen. Like you when you just put yourself out there and like put it out into the universe, like you'll get back what you put out there, and it's amazing.
It absolutely is. And we met each other, and now I hope to see you on Survivor. Like, let's go to Survivor together. Let's go to Big Brother together. Let's go to
Yeah,
together. Alliance, alliance, alliance.
all of that.
I could see us on all of them together. And if we're not on them together, I could see you on it and me on it, and we're rooting each other on, throwing parties, everything
Exactly.
together, like whatever we got to do. One of these days, someone on the castings that we've known on that one of these LRGs is going to make it on one of these shows, and we're all going to freak out.
Honestly, like since I've joined the community back in 2020, like every time a new cast list comes out, I'm always wondering like, is there going to be someone that like I know from these games?
Yeah.
And there like usually is like someone that I've either like I've got so many connections to Survivor now. Like my friend Brandon was on a couple of seasons ago, and I met him through Sequester. There is this kid Andy that was on a few seasons ago, and his girlfriend I played Sequester against twice and actually beat her in the final two the second time I won. So I'm like, that's really interesting. And like I've seen other like people from like other like games and orgs and LRGs like
Yeah.
actually get onto like Survivor Big Brother, and that's why I'm like, I feel like I'm on the brink of things when I actually put my mind to it and like want to like do
Yeah,
it and manifest it, like
exactly.
it can totally happen.
Yeah,
It's that close.
all you have to do is believe in it, believe in yourself, and believe that if you put it out there, it can happen. And sometimes it does, but I mean, I have the understanding that I'm not going to get everything I try for, but if I try, at least I know, like, well, I didn't work out for that one, but try again. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't stop me because I've tried out for Big Brother so many times and I've never gotten a call back, and I'm still here. Like, let's go, maybe next year, you know? And I
And
had
I mean, some of the biggest characters, like they'll say, I had to apply for this for like 5 or 6 years before I even got my first callback. So like that's what like gives me hope. It's like, okay, someone like I think Rizzo said that he was applying for like 5 years, the two last seasons of Survivor. And he was like, this was the last year that I was gonna apply. And for some reason it was this year that I got on and I got on 49 and then I got on 50. And so I'm
yeah.
like, it's never
And
over.
I believe Mitch from season 48 spent several, like almost 10 years applying, if I'm not mistaken. He finally made it on. Like, if you don't give up and when it's your time, it'll happen if they like you.
Exactly.
Some people are not meant for TV, but I feel like where there's a will, there's a way. And when there's timing, it's the time's gonna happen. And so I'm like, one of these times, it's gonna be the right time for me. They're gonna want my crazy ass. And I'll be good. But
It'll happen.
until then, just keep trying. You know what I
And
mean?
stay positive, stay as positive as possible.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, it's like discouraging, like doing it over and over again. But like, I feel like each time you do it again, you're putting something else in that you didn't before, and you've learned so much from the last time too that like you're just getting better and you're getting stronger, and like it just increases your chances. So like, it doesn't
Yeah.
hurt.
And with my OCD, everything happens for me in like threes. So I'm like, I didn't make it the first time, didn't make it the second time. Maybe next year, third time's a charm. You know what I mean? Maybe I
Yeah,
needed some timing and maybe I just needed some practice and some more interesting things about me. And now that I have like Spotlight and all these other LRGs and these ORGs that I'm doing, that makes me a little bit more prepared for a show like Survivor or Big Brother if I were to get chosen. So
yeah.
I didn't ever like apply for Survivor, but I think I will for this next upcoming season because I know they're starting this fall for casting. So I'm like, let me just apply. Why the heck not?
You totally should. Why not?
It's what do I've got to lose?
Exactly.
Exactly. So, besides all these casting opportunities and these things that you've been doing and putting yourself out there, who are you outside of the camera?
Outside of the camera, I am a very creative individual in my spare time. I have always been into writing and making music. I do video editing. My degree is in graphic information design. So really just anything in the world of creativity, like I like to dabble my hands in and kind of get messy with. Being that I have ADHD, I've always had the problem of like working on something for a little bit and then jumping to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and not focusing on things so much to completion.
Yeah.
I like to have a lot of projects working simultaneously so that way, depending how I'm feeling on this day, on this night, that's going to determine what I'm going to work on. But yeah, that's kind of like how I find my peace working individually on like my creative endeavors. Um Music is probably like the biggest passion that I've had. I've always just loved listening to music, and then in all throughout like middle school, high school. I used to write songs. In college, I started producing my own music. And then in 2022, I actually like I was like, I want to do this for real. And so like I found a professional studio nearby where I live, and I got together with a professional engineer and I put together an actual like EP that's like up on streaming and that I'm like super proud of because it's like all written by me and like two of the tracks are co-produced by me. Like, and I spent months and months and months working on it and hours in the studio, and it was such a great experience and such like a rewarding thing to complete because like I said, I like to work on little things but never really complete things. So to actually see this project from start to finish was an amazing accomplishment for me. And with my music, like I have you would not believe my vault of just music that I've never put out because I don't make music with the hopes of like being famous or like
Yeah.
even having people hear it. Like I do it because it's a creative escape for me, because it feeds my soul, because it makes me happy. And so like if I'm happy with it, I maybe never need to share it with the world because once you put it out to the world, it's no longer yours. It becomes a
Yeah.
product of public opinion. And a lot of times I think more so in the past before I had as thick of skin that I have now, I could falter under like
Mhm.
public opinion and like what people think and say about my work, especially my creative work. So I a lot of times like to just keep things to myself. But over the last couple of years, I've been challenging myself to put out more of my creative work, and getting that positive feedback actually really does like help. And even like some of the not so positive feedback also helps because it's making me have thicker skin and also making me realize that like no matter what the feedback is, be it good or bad, it's just feedback and it's not going to change the love I have for what I'm doing or the love that I have for the talent that I was blessed with.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a couple things. I absolutely love what you just said about music in general. There's so many times. So I was in a car accident in 2023, and ever since then, anytime I'm on the road, I turn to car karaoke just because it takes my mind
Mm,
off of the road. It takes my mind off of anything. And I've slowly discovered that the only time my real singing voice comes out is when I'm behind the wheel of a car. So I've slowly been recording myself, like singing as I'm driving, and I put a video out yesterday and then I deleted it. And I don't know why, but I might just put it back out after what you said because now I'm like, you know what? Screw that. Like it had 200 views and then 0 likes. And I was like, ooh, maybe it was not as great as I was hoping it was going to be. But it's about the lyrics that I wrote, not the singing of my voice kind of thing. But
yeah.
I put out two other videos and someone had commented on one of them, like, wow, what a terrible singing voice. So ever since then, I was like, I know I don't absolutely suck at singing because I've done choir since first grade, but I know I sounded terrible because I was sitting in front of a camera singing. This time when I'm driving, you can kind of actually hear my voice a little tiny bit more. You can hear that I can hold a tune. Like it actually sounded better, but for some reason I deleted it. I don't know why. Um, but music for me is something that is so healing, and I recently visited my high school choir teacher, and ever since then I've just had so much more of a drive. I'm like, I want to go back on stage. I want to do musicals again. I just want to sing. I don't care who's freaking listening. Like it's just something where you do it for yourself. You don't do it for anybody else. And if you're doing it for yourself, then that's what becomes more entertaining for anybody than the fact that you're doing it to put on a show, you know? And
Hmm.
I can totally feel that energy through you, through what you're talking about, how you're just doing it for you and you don't care. And my brother John also is the same way, where it's his creative outlet. He creates beats and he's done hip hop his whole entire life, but he doesn't put it out all the time. He just creates it for himself. And so I love that for you. Like there's so many times where I've recorded myself and I don't even share it with anybody, but I do it to hear myself back and kind of judge my own self. And if I want to put it out, I can put it out there. But if I don't,
Exactly. And like I always think of the quote, don't grow up, it's a trap. And like I associate that with like my imagination. And like that's the space within me, that creative space. It's like my child self that I try to protect at all costs. And I
yeah.
think part of doing that is like not sharing everything, or if I do share something, like not letting the negative comments or the internet trolls that would never say these things to your face, like not letting them affect that part of me. And I think that's also why like I don't think I would ever really want a job doing one of my most passionate like creative endeavors, because I don't want it to be tainted by the corporate world or by other people's opinions or like what other people want. And so like yeah, like I try to protect that creative child within me and that imagination at all costs, and whatever that means, like I just do it because it's super important to me and I feel like it makes up a big part of who I am.
I love that so much. So if we wanted to, you said you released a couple things out there in the world. Where can we
Yeah.
find your music and your things that you've put out if we wanted to listen?
So I'm on all streaming platforms under MQ. I have the easiest way to probably look me up is MQ, and the name of my EP is Femme. And I named it Femme as an acronym for Fuck Everyone's Misconceptions,
I love that.
which is another like I'm doing this for me. I don't care what anyone thinks. So yeah, if you look up MQ Femme on any streaming platform, you'll find my music.
I love that so much. So I want to share my tattoo with you. I got it on May 20th. I'm hoping you can see it. It's a semi.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So I just got it on May 20th after seeing my choir teacher. And so the semicolon represents music being like a savior in life. I'm a suicide survivor. So I got the music note because music has helped me through my darkest times. And then the heart represents like their love of music and how it can help you through life. So I got that to
That's
kind of be suicide awareness. I know a lot of people have suffered with that kind of stuff as well. So
That's so beautiful. I love that.
yeah. Do you have any tattoos?
I do. I have a couple. My first one I got as a pair of dice, and then my nickname MQ. So on streaming and everything, I spell it out as actual MQ,
Mhm.
but my superstar alter ego, I'll say, I spell it EMQUE, and he was born my senior year of high school. I was on the dance team and I was the only boy, which was like a big deal because like we had to perform at all the pep rallies and like in front of the whole school. So like it took a lot of courage to do that. I also got my first lead in a musical my senior year of high school as well. I was the Tin Man in The Wiz.
Oh,
And
cool.
that was just such a formative time in my life because I remember like I really, really wanted this role. I wanted it so bad. I remember watching the movie.
Uh-oh. No, what happened? You froze. Marquise. Oh.
Froze for a sec.
Okay, we're good. So we started
Okay, can you hear me?
where, yeah, we're good. So you stopped and froze out where you're talking about getting the 10 min in your senior year of high school.
Yes. I really wanted to get this part so bad. I did all the research. I was practicing the lines, all the things. Ended up getting the role. It was so exciting. And but I remember the early rehearsals of like me having to be on stage and then the rest of the cast and crew like being in the audience, like watching me like learn my lines and learn my songs and having to rehearse. And I just remember like having this really big gray hoodie on and like having the hood up and like trying to hide my face as much as possible and like being so nervous and scared and being like, oh my God, like this is so weird. Like, why did I do this to myself? I hate this. And I remember it clicking for me at one point of me being like, this is acting. You have to act. Pretend they're not watching you, they're watching the Tin Man. And from there, like my progress just like exponentially like went upward and like I just felt myself getting better and better every rehearsal. And I remember during one of the dress rehearsals, our director was not very happy with us. And during his notes after the show, he went through every single part of the show and every single person and gave like the most intense criticism and feedback I have ever heard him give ever in life. But
Nice.
when he got to me, he was like, Marquise, I've known you since you were a freshman here. To see where you have come is tremendous and like to see the person that you've grown into and your dedication to the role. And like he literally just breathed so much life and light and positivity and just reassurance into me that like it was a moment that I'll never forget. And I remember tearing up in that moment and feeling like I'm this is something that I'm good at. This is something that makes me happy and like other people are like noticing it. And so that being said, that whole my whole senior year between being on the dance team and all the performances that we did, the competitions that we went to, and then the being in the musical and being my first lead role, like all of that just like built me up to like feel the star inside of me just like awaken or just be born or just like realize that exists. And so whenever I perform, I always say like it's not me performing, it's MQ. And
I
so that's the long story of this tattoo.
Well, I absolutely love that so much. My very, very first tattoo, I won't show you, but it's on the top of my feet and it's a happy and a sad face. And it's the theater mask on like one's
Oh
on my
yeah,
right foot and one's on my left foot. And I got it originally because I had done 7 musicals, but now in my later life, knowing that it's the bipolar symbol.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so if you look it up, the happy and sad can be the bipolar symbol as well. And
Oh
so
wow.
I have that. I have laugh now, cry later on my feet with the happy and the sad face. It was my very first tattoo ever. And now in my later life, it really means so much more than just theater.
I love that. That's so cool. And like it's so crazy how like you can get something and like later on in life it means something different.
Exactly. And tattoos are permanent. So if anybody's thinking of getting a tattoo, double think it, triple think it before you do it because you can't get rid of it. And if you do, you can, but it hurts way worse than getting it, I heard.
Oh my gosh, I've seen videos of people getting them removed and I'm like, thank goodness I've never gotten one that I would want to get removed because I don't know that I could deal with the pain. Like dealing with the pain of getting it is one thing. To
Exactly.
get it removed and you have to do multiple sessions too. Like I don't think that
Yeah.
I
I would
could
ra-
handle that.
I would rather just get covered up at that point, I guess.
I know, right? That's probably like the best solution.
Okay, so we're gonna kick it back high school style. We're gonna do 20
Yeah.
questions to get to know you a little bit more basic, a little bit more intermediate, and some hard questions, okay?
Okay.
We're
Let's
gonna,
do it.
we're gonna start off. Where's my glasses? Because I can't see anything. Okay, so we're gonna start off with some rapid fire questions to get things started. Coffee or tea?
Ooh. I've never been like a dedicated coffee drinker. Like I'll go through phases where like if it's available to me, like working in an office, like if it's available to me, I'll be obsessed with it for like 2 weeks and then I won't have it again for like 6 months. But I also don't really drink tea either. I'm a water person. Like it's boring, but I'm a water guy.
Water guy. Okay. Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Beach. Okay. Sweet or salty?
Ooh, that's tough because it really depends on my mood. But if I had to choose one or the other, I'll probably say salty.
Okay. Text or call?
Text.
Introvert or extrovert?
Um, I kind of sit comfortably in the middle.
Mm.
Like at my core, I'm an introverted person, but I know how to express myself and I'm not afraid to express myself. And in the best of times, I can be as extroverted as the next person. But I think internally I'm pretty introverted.
Okay. What is your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest pet peeve, um, my biggest pet peeve. I don't like people that can't take accountability. Communication is huge to me, and I've fostered some very special relationships, some long life lasting relationships over my life. And I've done that by being able to take accountability, be honest with myself, and people that gaslight and place blame just nonstop, it drives me insane.
I love that. Same. I feel the same way. What is your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure. I'm so unapologetically myself, and I probably don't even have like it's. I wouldn't feel guilty about anything. Um, maybe I'll say happy hours. I love to go to a good happy hour. I love to socialize with friends. I've been known to have like one too many drinks every now and then. So like, I guess I would say happy hours.
Okay, so where do you live at?
I live in New Haven in Connecticut.
You know what? I was just in Connecticut. How come I didn't know that you lived there and we could have met in person?
Well, you didn't know I lived in Connecticut?
I knew it, but like I couldn't read like I had so much going on at the time, but like I guess it just
Yeah,
didn't
you were like on a tour. Like you had a lot of things you were doing.
traveling all over the place. Next time I come to Connecticut, we'll have to meet in person. I will
Oh,
come out
totally.
to your place because I am actually from Groton, Connecticut. That's where I grew up. So
Okay.
way opposite of New Haven. If
Yeah.
I were to come to New Haven, Connecticut, where are you taking me out to eat, to get a bite to eat?
We would be going to Te Amo Tequila.
Ooh,
It's downtown. This place opened at this point, maybe like almost 10 years ago.
yum.
Amazing food, amazing drinks, just amazing atmosphere, amazing all the things. It's like my favorite place to go.
Okay, well, make a plan for that. I come once a year at least because my brother lives in Connecticut. Both of my brothers do. And I have several friends, family. I always go up there at least once a year. So whenever I come out there, that's what we're doing.
We will do it. You
Awesome.
got my word.
Perfect. Okay, so now you have three options to start with. I'll give you the choice. Do you want to start with easy icebreakers? Do you want to start with some medium level questions or more tricky questions?
Let's start tricky and work our way back.
Okay, that's exactly where I was gonna go with it, but I'm like, I'm gonna give him the choice.
Let's do that.
Okay, so if you could leave the world with one message, what would it be?
It's very simple and it may sound cliche, but they're just some words that I heard when I was 18 years old at the exact moment that I needed to hear it. And it's be you, it's enough. Like, love yourself for who you are because you are one of one. What you have to give to the world is so unique and so special that it may not be for everyone, but if you could change even just one person's life, that's an impact, and that's enough.
I love that so much. And I already know just by you being here, sharing your story, being you, you're going to touch more than one life and you're going to help so many people. So thank you for being here again.
Of course, and I hope so. I really, really hope so. That's like my goal in life.
There's no need to hope it's going to happen. I already can tell you that.
I love that.
So, what's one thing that you wish people would understand more about you?
Um, One thing I wish people would understand more about me is something that I wish I understood more about myself. So I'm 37, and this past November was I was diagnosed with ADHD, like officially. Like I'd gone through multiple testing, multiple doctors, all the different things. And prior to that, I would have never in a million years thought that I had ADHD. But once getting that diagnosis and once doing my research on what it means and how it affects me particularly, it explains so many things just from throughout my whole entire life that I'm like glad that I could now give all of these things that I've struggled with a name, but also it's hard because I'm like, well, if I could have just given this all a name when I was 13 years old, like how would things be different now? Um, so obviously like I don't want to make excuses for like shortcomings in my relationships or work or just anything, but also I know that the effects of ADHD like make things a little bit have always made things more difficult for me. So I just wish that more people understood more about neurodivergence, ADHD, all of the things to give people more grace to understand that like just because something may come easy to you doesn't mean it comes easy to everyone else. Just give people grace, and in that same token, like working on giving myself grace at all times as well.
Absolutely. I love that so much. We will actually circle back to ADHD and anything mentally that you struggle with here in just a little tiny bit once we get through these get to know you questions. So I'm glad that you brought that up. I too was diagnosed with ADHD last year when I was just 35 years old, later in life. And now I look back on things and I'm like, man, if I would have had the help so much sooner, what would have happened?
Yeah,
So I feel you, and I know so many other people out there feel us too, because it's rough. It's
it's
definitely
common.
and it's almost like people see it as like an excuse now instead of
Yeah,
answer. And that's the most frustrating part. And that's what makes me want to keep going of bringing awareness to what people are struggling with because it's different for every single person. It's not the same anywhere whatsoever. Like your ADHD is going to be completely different than my ADHD, but we still have it and we still struggle together in a way. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Yeah, we all have to stick together a little bit more and having a little bit more understanding about what we're going through.
Right. Empathy, just letting people understanding that everyone's different.
Exactly. And it's okay to be different. You don't have to be
It's what makes us all like that's what makes the world so special.
exactly. And if only we could just feel that freedom to be who we want to be a little bit more and be, you know what I'm saying? Like it's for me, it's hard to put myself out there because you never know what's going to be accepted and what's not going to be accepted. And I'm sure you feel the same way. And I'm sure anybody out there who is trying to be an influencer and wants to do things for the world, like it's scary. Just for the,
Hmm.
like you said earlier, like I've said it 1,000 times, once you put it out there, it's not yours to keep anymore. It's just
Exactly.
whoever wants to, like people can download your videos, people can edit them, people can do whatever.
Manipulate them, and these days with AI, like they can do whatever they want.
Exactly. So the tech world is a scary place, but if you continue to focus on the positive parts of it, that's what can keep positive things going. So hopefully more positivity can come out of what we're talking about here and there. So, if money was not a factor, what would you spend your life doing?
Making music, without a doubt.
That
I and like building, I like to say world building, because like I wouldn't just make music, like I would make albums and I would do artwork associated with it. I would do music videos and I would put on concerts. Like I would literally like do all of the things. Like I would live out my biggest pop star wildest dreams.
I love that. I love it so much. So, what's a challenge that changed you as a person?
Ooh, a challenge that changed me as a person. That's a good one. Um, I think adapting to the corporate world really changed me as a person, and I really struggled with that at first. Like going from college out into the quote unquote real world. Um, I definitely struggled through college because just looking back now, I see that it was all things of my ADHD. Like I'm not the typical learner. Like I can't just like go home and study for a test and then go take the test or like keep up with projects and like I still haven't even fully dissected like what a successful college run would have looked like had I been able to grasp my ADHD back then. But I was able to do enough to graduate. So hey, it worked. But then going out into the real world was a much different story. And I really struggled for that first year. I ended up getting a job as a waiter for like a year while I tried to find like an actual like real job, like, you know, like that required my degree and everything. And then I ended up working for a company, Indeed.com. That was my first like I called big boy job, and I was super excited about it. Like worked in the office, and it was like a Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. But like being in that corporate world was just such a change for me. It was very different, and like productivity is very serious, and you've got to be locked in from 8 to 5 or whatever your shift is, and that took a lot for me, and it was stifling to me to be able to fully show my personality. So like being that there's just so many distractions, like the office was like an open floor concept. So like you could literally see everyone and like everyone's on the phones all day and on computers and like going in and out and you've got meetings. There's just so much going on that I needed to just focus on one thing, and that was doing the job and figuring it out. So like I didn't have the space to like really be myself with like the people around me or get to know them. So it kind of seemed like I was just like a turtle in my own shell that first year. But then after the second year, once I had a better handle on the job, like I remember myself like starting to come out of my shell more and like not only be good at my job, but then start to help others become good at their job too, to the point that I was promoted to a senior position. So like that first year was really a struggle for me. And like I remember I would go home and be like, why can't I just like be myself? Like I feel like I'm like not I feel like I'm hiding who I am when I'm at work. And like now I realize it's because I needed to just really focus in on being good at the job. Like I couldn't be distracted by all of the other things. Like that just it's not how my brain works. But in that year, I learned how to balance the being productive, being locked in with your job, while also being able to be who I was and show up as myself every single day at work.
I love that. I love that you shared that so much. I know so many other people out there are not have struggled in the ways that you have too. I have struggled so many times of just you're like you want to be yourself so badly, but in the past when you've been yourself, you've been judged or you've been critiqued and it's knocked you down so far that you don't want to do it anymore. And so
Hmm.
I feel you on that because I definitely have been there before and I'm so proud of you and all the progress that you've made so far.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Of course. So with that being said, what's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear is um I would say not living up to my potential, but like I'm such an optimist at heart. Like I don't even think that that is an option for me. Like even at my lowest of lows, like I've always been the type to be like, I'm at a low right now, but when I'm at the lowest of lows, the only way to go is up. So
Exactly.
like I'm gonna find my way out. I'm gonna find a way. Like I've been in worse situations, and one of my favorite quotes is every hard time is a preparation for what's to come. So every difficult time is just preparing me to deal with this much easier in the future or deal with the next problem in an easier way. So like while in the back of my head there is that fear of like, what if I never like live up to the potential that I believe that I have?
Mhm.
There's also a part of me that's like, well, I can't predict the future, so let me not beat myself up for what I think that I won't be in the future. Let me do what I need to do to get where I'm gonna be. And because I'm so resilient and because I'm so strong, because I have so much talent and skills, like I know that I'm gonna get to somewhere great. And I know that I'm going to do great things. And I know that I'm gonna leave some kind of impact and footprint on this world. So like while it's a fear, I don't let it cripple me.
Absolutely. And fears can be so crippling and like sometimes in that crippling moments, you don't know what to do. Is there ever anything that you do in the crippling moments to help you through?
Yeah, well, I mean, music is definitely therapy for me.
Yeah.
I love listening to songs that make me feel better about myself, that like kind of, especially like nostalgic songs that kind of bring me back to my childhood or time to easier times, kind of like ground me. But I think something that's really helped me is that I've been in therapy since I want to say I was like for like 10 years now. So like different therapists, and I've tried different methods of therapy as well, but like therapy is definitely the biggest thing that has helped me to get through difficult times, but also I've I started journaling when I was 13. I did it consistently till I was probably like 30. I definitely don't do it as much now as I wish I did, and it's something that I want to get back to because I feel like I knew myself the best and I was able to get out of difficult times the most when I was journaling consistently. Because I would just sit and just write, sometimes for hours, just write everything that I was feeling. And then I'd go back 2 or 3 days later and read it and have such a different perspective that I'm like, okay, this makes sense now. I get why I thought this or felt this. And like even like to look back years ago to things that I wrote, I'm like, okay, I'm still dealing with some of these same problems. Like, how do I look at them differently now? So like definitely journaling was a big thing, is a big thing for me, and also just therapy. And then also like constant communication with my doctor and making sure that I'm on the right meds, that I'm taking them appropriately. Like all of those things together. It's a very intricate dance,
Yeah.
that's not always the easiest, but when I am in sync with that dance, things those crippling fears are not as dominating.
Yeah, I love that you gave all that advice and definitely like I love just going for a drive when I'm in a mood and just listening to music and put I sometimes I'll even leave my phone at home and I will just go for a drive and just tune out and I music is therapy for me. It's something that's
Yeah,
me
same.
so much and if I didn't have music in my life, I don't know what would happen. That would probably be the hardest part about being on Big Brother or Survivor or those reality shows is not having music. Like I could get over not seeing my family and friends. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Same.
I could get over that little bit because it's temporarily, but music, it's like that's a part of me of every day. If I don't listen to a song every day, then I feel so like, bleh. You know what I mean? I don't feel right.
Hmm. I'm not complete.
Exactly. You don't feel complete without music in your life. And I've got to have at least every day where I just put on a song and belt my heart out and just get it all out of me. And I'm like, I go
Exactly.
for a drive and do it because I live with six people and I can't do it at my house. So I go for my drives and I do it there. And if I don't,
Hmm.
I feel so off in the world. Okay, so what's something you've always wanted to learn?
Something I've always wanted to learn. I wish I was fluent in Spanish.
Ah,
Like that's like the
God.
language I would love to be fluent in. And it's crazy because I took Spanish from like middle school through college. So like I can understand things, like I can understand on like a reading and writing level,
Yeah.
but I'm not conversational. But I have been doing Duolingo this year. I am on like a 225-day streak right now. So I'm doing really well. I'm hoping that like if I stay consistent with this, I'll get to a point where like I can like conversationally be good at it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so we'll go into a little tiny bit more cheesy, easier questions, okay?
Okay, let's do it.
What's your favorite color?
Red.
Okay. What's your favorite food?
My favorite food.
If you can't say
Uh,
favorite, you could do top two or three.
I think about it in terms of if I were on Survivor and let's say I made it to whatever day and I'm on my way to Ponderosa and they asked me what meal I would want prepared, it'd be a cheeseburger and French fries.
I love that. Love that, love that. What would you want on your cheeseburger?
I definitely need ketchup, mustard, lettuce, pickles.
That's it?
That's it.
Love it.
Maybe bacon, but I don't know.
I know, bacon for some extra protein.
Like a classic burger, just it does it for me.
It doesn't need it. That's awesome. One patty or two.
Usually one.
Mm.
Usually one, because I am kind of like I eat like a bird, so like I don't really like finish my meals all the time, which is like bad. So like I to be safe, I'll say one.
That's the ADHD in you.
You know what? That makes perfect sense.
Yes, us and our eating habits are terrible. Like, if we're hungry, move out of the way. If we're kind of hungry, leave us alone.
Exactly.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Night owl for sure.
What's your dream vacation destination?
A dream vacation destination. So this is, I mean, everything's complicated with me, but I've always like Fiji is my number one place that I want to go, but I only want to go there if it's A for my honeymoon or now in recent times, now they only film Survivor in Fiji for Survivor. Like
Yeah.
those are the only two reasons why I would go.
Yeah, makes sense. This is the only two reasons why I would go to. Me and my husband, we need a vacation, or hey, you're on Survivor. Be like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah, going to Fiji.
How long is the flight? How many Xanaxes do I need? Coming
Right.
through. That's a long flight.
Oh my gosh.
I can't even imagine it. I have recently been talking to Tez from Survivor Australia.
Okay.
And I did an interview with him. It's on my page. And he slid into my DMs after Spotlight. I don't know if you heard this.
Oh, nice.
He loved my jury segment. He thought it was hysterical. And so he was just like, hey, by the way, for your information, your jury segment was hysterical. And I
It was
didn't know,
spicy.
yeah, I didn't know who he was at first. So when he slid in my DMs, if you're nice to me, I'm just going to chat with you. I don't care who you
Mhm.
are. And so eventually
Yeah.
he started talking about Australian Survivor, this and this and that. And I was like, who is this guy? And then I eventually learned who he was. I was like, wait, what the fuck?
Wow.
I was like, that's shocking. And I guess he hasn't slid into Mike's DMs, but he's liked Mike's stuff.
Hmm.
He knows who Josh is from BB spoilers and all those kind of things. So it's just what a
Oh,
small
cool.
circle. Go add him on your Instagram if you
Dude,
have.
what's his Instagram?
I'll show it to you right now. I know it's Tez, but I cannot pronounce his last name for the life of me. But he follows pretty much everybody on Spotlight. I keep trying to convince him to audition for Spotlight, but he says because he's so new at he's so recent on Survivor, he does not want to do anything like this. Oops.
Gotcha. Okay, I got him.
Yeah, so follow Tez. He is amazing. He was so sweet sliding into my DMs. He's been talking to so many people on Spotlight and he's just been so supportive. He actually started on LRGs and ORGs before he went on to Survivor.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so he's,
Yeah, I was gonna say I've definitely come across his profile before. I don't remember when, where, or how, but I definitely have.
yeah, so follow him and he'll probably be like, oh my God, it's him from Spotlight. He's very active on social media. He's a sweetheart and you would absolutely love him for sure. But I messaged him about visiting in Australia, and it's like a 16-hour flight. I'm like, I don't even know how long the flight is to Fiji. I haven't looked it up, but I would do it.
I mean, for Survivor, hell yeah, I'm doing anything. But
Yeah, exactly.
16 hours, you probably, I don't even know because I've not looked it up myself either. But the longest flight I've ever done, I think, is 10 hours
To where?
to Croatia.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, that's a long flight.
Yeah. Um, Luckily, I'm pretty good about like occupying my time. And again, one of the blessings of ADHD is being able to go from one thing to the other, which makes time I feel like go by a little bit faster.
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't mind long flights too much.
I love that. Same thing. I'm like, I'm so used to going from coast to coast that I'm like, it's 6 hours, 7 hour flight minimum. Add another 10 hours. It won't be a big deal.
Right.
Because you know you're going to be comfier on a flight.
Exactly.
So, last easy question. If you could have dinner with any celebrity, who would it be and why?
The love of my life, Channing Tatum.
Oh, shut the hell up.
The love of my life. Like literally since 2004.
Mhm.
He followed me back on Instagram in 2001, and we chat in DMs every once in a while.
Oh, shut up. And you haven't had
The
dinner.
power of manifestation.
You know what? You never know who's watching these kind of things. And so maybe, just maybe, you'll have dinner with Channing Tatum one of these days. And I said his last name wrong. But that's
I mean, you never know. Maybe he's watched the spotlight and didn't tell me. I mean, he's been following me for like 5 years now.
exactly. And sometimes they honestly they do like the silent watcher thing. Like they don't tell you what they're doing, but they're watching you. And then all of a sudden they're
Right.
like, hey, we saw all of this, and you're like, uh
It's like, oh my gosh.
But the fact that he's following you is absolutely amazing.
Oh
Like,
my
I
gosh. I
have
remember the
loved
night that it
him.
happened, like
Oh, tell me all
everything.
about it, King. Please tell me all about
Like it was so random because obviously I've followed him since probably like the day he created his Instagram. But
it.
I commented on a photo that he had posted of a clay sculpture that he was working on, and then he liked it. And this is the first time he had interacted with me on social media, and I was like, Channing Tatum just liked my comment. And then 2 seconds later, Channing Tatum started following you, and I was like, ah. Like legitimately started running through the house, like crazy, insane, just like out of body experience. And then when I don't remember the first time he like DM'd me back, but yeah, one time I DM'd him, then he DM'd me back, and then we just kind of started going back and forth. And then now it's just like every once in a while, I DM him more than he DMs me back. But when
Yeah.
he does DM me back, it's just like the most ultimate feeling in the world.
It just must be like the biggest heartgasm in the world.
Totally. Like you want to talk about getting out of hard times. Like whenever I'm like really sad, I just remind myself that Channing Tatum's following me on Instagram and I'm happy.
Exactly. There you go. Okay, so now I want to transition a little bit into mental health and chatting a little
Yeah.
bit about the struggles that you've gone through. My podcast is very general. I don't know why I said that. It's centered around mental health and anything that anybody has gone through, how they've gone through it, et cetera, et cetera. You've mentioned ADHD. Is there anything else that you struggle with as well on top of ADHD, or is it just the ADHD?
I also deal with depression and anxiety, and I have since I was like 13. Like I remember them really like settling in when I was 13. So I was probably that age when all three of these things kind of combined to take me down, if you will.
Yeah, that's so hard. So, how were you diagnosed with any of those before you were diagnosed with ADHD, or were you only diagnosed with them all at the same time?
I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety probably in my early 20s. So I've always known those things. I did not know about ADHD, and I was also just not aware of much about it at all, which is why, like I said, when I got diagnosed with it last year, prior to that, I would have never thought that it was something that I dealt with. But when I did my research, it's like, oh, that explains a lot.
Yeah, so if you had to describe ADHD in your own words and how it affects you, how would you describe that?
For me, coupling that with my depression and anxiety, it just becomes kind of like a crippling battle of self doubt and lack of initiation starting. So, like, I have a problem starting things and I build things up in my head to be much bigger than what they really are. Like, I'll build something up to be a big, huge monster when in hindsight, if I just jump into doing something, I'll be fine and I can get through it. But also, a lot of times when I am doing things, like I can't stay focused on something for too long. My brain is going from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And I can't just kind of like stay dialed in on one thing for too long. And I mean, I was just thought like I hate to say it, but I would always be like I would always just like tell myself like, oh, you're being lazy, or like, why don't you want to do things? Like you're so unmotivated, like speaking negatively to myself. And like having to like really work on being gentler with the things that I told myself and like giving myself more grace. But yeah, I would say the lack of like initiating things is like my biggest like indicator of ADHD.
Okay. And then with ADHD, does that affect your abilities to actually want to do things, or does it just make it harder for you?
No, it totally does. Even the things that I love to do, like I love writing stories. I've always loved writing scripts as well, and we've talked in detail about like me making music. Like it even affects me wanting to get started doing those things because I feel like I'm gonna get to a point where I get bored with it too easily, or I'm just not happy with what I'm doing, and like I'll get so ahead of myself that I'll think about those points, and they'll stop me from even starting them,
Yeah.
which I hate, and I'm still trying to like figure out how to like work through.
Mhm.
But a lot of times, half the battle is giving that something a name.
So what do you cope with? Like, what do you use to cope, and what do you use to do to make sure that you're not having those, what we would describe as lazy days?
I'm a big fan of mantras. I'm a big fan of quotes or little just kind of like mechanisms that help you like just to get started. I remember one of the things that's really stuck with me over the years, a therapist that I was seeing, she posed to me, when you're having those feelings of not wanting to do something, ask yourself, well, what can you do? Can you do it for 5 minutes? Can you do it for 10 minutes? Can you do it for 15 minutes? So I've started to, I actually like made a poster and like had put it in my living room for a while, put it everywhere that I usually am productive, that said, can you do it for 5 minutes? And whenever I would like feel myself not wanting to do something, I would ask myself, can I do it for 5 minutes? And then I'd start. And then usually that 5 minutes would end up being a lot longer because I can do it for more than 5 minutes. I just needed to get over that hump.
I love, love, love that. I love that you use quotes. I love that you put posters up. I love that you do whatever you have to do to continue to motivate yourself to just be the best you that you can be. You mentioned being on some medications for your mental health. What medications are you on? How much and how often do you take them? Don't mind
My
sharing. I know
cocktail
that's very personal. Sorry.
to yeah, no, my I call my cocktail, if you will, has changed so
Yeah.
many times and so often that like I don't usually always remember it. Like what like I know I'm on bupropion. I know I'm on losartan. I know I'm on Boost Bar.
hmm
And I would say that those are my big three. Those are my big three that kind of like regulate and keep me centered, keep me grounded, keep me like I have to make sure that I'm taking those regularly to be on the right path. Those are the most important, and those are the ones that address the anxiety and depression. And then I started taking something for ADHD. I've been trying different things for the ADHD. I'm not sure that it really works because I'm not seeing too much of a difference. But I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah. I know that I take, I believe the bupropion is called Wellbutrin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take Wellbutrin for depression. At first, I thought they had diagnosed it to me as a non-addictive ADHD medication. But when I finally
Hmm.
did my research, I realized it was for depression. And so now if I don't take it, I am depressed as ever. I can't function. I hate it. My life. I'm like, if you try to take me off my Wellbutrin, I will probably just be like, no.
Yeah. Can't do
I
it.
will find another doctor. I will do whatever I got to do to stay on it. And it's not because I'm addicted, it's a non-addictive medication, but I know how I am off of it versus on, and I don't want to be off of it. And
Hmm.
that's not how it is for everybody. It takes quite a bit to find that perfect cocktail to really just be able to function like a normal human being. And a lot of people think that medications are the easy fix or it's just a fix all. And it's like, no, your fix all, it might fix your problem for a week or two and you might feel fantastic, but one thing in your brain might set your chemistry off, and then you're back to square one, having to start all over again and finding the right cocktail, finding the right medication. Like it's a never-ending stream. This is
Like it's medication mixed with therapy. Like those need to go hand in hand.
well, and then not even just regular therapy. You have to do self-therapy on top of it because your therapist can only help so much. They can only do so much for you. And I often found that therapy was not a way of education. It was a way of
Hmm.
talking through things and helping me cope with things. I had to educate myself on what I was diagnosed with. And that's why I
Hmm.
created a workbook. I'm going to send you a free copy of my workbook, by the way. Just
Oh, thank you.
you're welcome. It'll be done in about 2 weeks because I'm relating it to a lot of different mental health things that people struggle with. And so it's a
Hmm.
huge project of mine, but I have nothing but time because I'm unemployed and I'm bored all the time. And you
Hmm.
know how it goes, if you don't have things to do, your brain just goes off the rocker. And so I'm
Hmm.
constantly focusing myself on whatever I can to just help people because that's what brings me joy. And
I
so
love that.
these workbooks are things that I did for myself when my therapist was there for me, but not in the ways I needed. I needed
Hmm.
education on what I was struggling with, not talk therapy. So I did talk therapy, but on the side, I would go and research things. And then I would go back to my therapy sessions being like, I think I have this. And she'd be like, why? And I would tell her all the symptoms, and we would go through her DSM-5 diagnosis criteria, and I would meet every one.
Hmm.
And that's how I figured out so many things about myself. And it was not an easy thing. I don't recommend anybody doing it without a therapist in their life because it's not anything anybody should do alone. That's for
Hmm.
sure. But at the end of it, once I finally figured out everything and why I struggled, the ways that I struggled, and what it related to me and in my life, not just a general definition, that's when I finally started healing. That's when I finally started having a better understanding of myself. And that's when I can finally just function like a normal human being. Like
Right.
if I'm off medications, I know that like I've never been off of them by the way, but if I ever had to be, I know that I have enough tools in my tool belt now to be able to tackle anything that may come. Whereas
Same.
before, I never ever knew anything. And so
Hmm.
I'm hoping that my little workbooks and my things that I did to help myself may help people in the future. And you'll be one of my first candidates for sure.
I love that.
So any with we talked about ADHD and what you do to help yourself. What do you do with depression when you're in a low besides music? Because music is a big turning point, but say music's not helping you. What's something else that you may do to help yourself?
Um, I have some really, really special close friends that I can really confide in about just anything. I call them my tribe. And whenever I'm going through something really deep, I know that I have someone that I can call, text, um, to just listen. Sometimes you just need someone to listen. And sometimes through that talking, you'll like be able to connect your own dots, or getting someone else's perspective helps you connect those dots as well. So I'm super blessed to have a tribe of close people around me that I'm able to turn to in those situations. I know not everyone has that. Um, and I mean, I think part of having depression is also not wanting to put the weight of it on others. So there are some times where I don't want to, trauma dump, if you will, on my friends, or I don't want to, like I'm like I always make sure to, if I'm going through a rough time and I need someone to talk to, I'm always make sure to kind of like check in with them to see where they are mentally, to see if they can even like handle the conversation. Because I don't want to be the person that just calls and immediately just starts dumping on you. Like I want to know that you're in the right mental space to be able to listen and to be able to help, and not like maybe you're having a rough day and here
Yeah.
my problems might make it worse. So that check-in part is very important to me. Um, and I'm comfortable with people being like, today's not a great day. And so in that case, then I'm turning to one of my other creative outlets and just writing, or turning on my on photo booth on my MacBook and just speaking to myself like I'm on a reality show in a confessional. And like a lot of times doing that like even helps, because I'm again like listening to myself say these things and put names to things, and I'm able to connect the dots between things and kind of like figure things out. So I think just talking in general, be it to myself on my computer or to a close friend, really helps.
And it sounds like the craziest thing in the world to turn on a camera and talk to yourself and then watch it back. I am my own worst critic, and if I'm going to post something on social media, I don't watch it back. I will just post and ghost just because if I watch it back, I won't post it. But if it's something where I need a therapeutic moment where I'm just talking to myself, I will watch it back and I'll watch it back and I'll watch it back and I'll help myself through those moments. So it sounds absolutely crazy, but it's almost like you're going through self-therapy without the judgment of a therapist. You're able
Hmm.
to talk through your feelings. You're able to just put everything you freaking want out there and you know you can delete it for good later. It's the most beautiful feeling in the entire world. And then on top of it, you can go and have those feelings validated by your support system. You get them out of your system alone and you get it out of there. And then you go and you talk to your people. And it's almost like, okay, these feelings made sense, but these feelings didn't. So you're actually getting the on top of, therapy that you need. And then you go and talk to your real
Exactly.
therapist, and it's all just layered. And they say it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village to get through mental health as well.
1000%.
And you have to go through a process where sometimes you're not going to. My biggest suggestion out there for anybody who's looking for the support system that they really want, that I have the same support system as you, where I have people that I can confide in and everything. But I went through a process where there's certain people where I can talk to them about certain things.
Yeah.
So
Same.
if you talk to them about these things, you're going to get the validation you need. If you talk to this person about this thing, you're going to get the validation you need. If you talk to this person, and so on and so forth. But sometimes if you try to go through a process where you're just venting to anybody and you're trauma dumping, um, you're not going to get what you need back because not everybody is going to handle your situations in the same way. Did you have to go through a process where you found your support system in the same way that I had to, where I had to experiment with certain people I can talk to about this thing, certain people I can talk to about these things, or was it just you can talk to anybody about anything?
I mean, I'm the type of person where I don't easily connect to people on like the deepest of levels. Like I can definitely like have a conversation with anyone and like really get to know someone and like make a connection. But like the people that I like completely confide in on a regular basis and like really am willing to go there mentally, emotionally, spiritually with, like it takes me a long time to get there. And so once I'm there with a person and like I know that this is going to be like a sacred person in my life, they're usually there for a very long time. Like my absolute best friend, we've been best friends since eighth grade. So it's been like 26 years now that we've been friends. I have a best friend from college. We've been friends now for about 16 years. I've got another one in 15 years. Like I've got friendships of like many, 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 many years. And
Yeah,
so once I get to a point with someone where I know, okay, this is a sacred and special relationship, I know that I can confide in them about anything if I needed to. But like you, like there are certain friends that I will talk about this with or this with or this with. And I feel like it's maybe just because they like I'm picking and choosing who's been through something similar or who's maybe like seen me through this one issue the most, that kind of like determines who that's going to be. But at the end of the day, if I needed to talk to any of my closest people about anything, like I feel like I can do that.
that's awesome. I love that so much. And it really is hard to find those people, but don't give up if you're struggling, just because in the end, when you find those people, it's the most rewarding feeling in the world.
Literally.
Yeah, so this has
I'm
been
a firm believer in chosen family.
yes, absolutely. And you never know what you have until you actually explore those options. And the options
Hmm.
that you have, they can seem limited or they can seem way too much, but you just have to dive on in and see what you got. Because at the end of the day, going through something alone is not what you should be having to do. You should have
Hmm.
people around you, and you just have to know what those people offer to you.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that we have so much in common. Look at
We
us.
literally do.
Well, like we're both from Connecticut. We both have the same mind frame. We both have so many things in common. And I just know that you're waiting for me to shut the heck up and turn.
Not at all. Like I can't believe like time has gone by so quickly.
I
Like
know,
it's
and
been such great conversation.
that's why I say it's from strangers to friends social hour, because you just never know how long an hour can go. It could go for an hour, it could go for under an hour, it can go for an hour, hour and a half to 2 hours. Like there's no time limit on conversations with me, just because it's like these are the things that, like, if we were on Big Brother, if we were on Survivor, that the audience would get to know about you. They would be asking you these questions in the diary room. Like they would be getting you to talk and open up, and people would be getting to know these things about you. But when you're on Spotlight and you're on these shorter games, people don't get to know these things about you. And that's what I really wanted the space to be.
Yeah, and I love it. I'm so thankful for you creating this space and also inviting me to it.
Absolutely. And this is where I kind of shut up a little bit and turn the floor over to you. You can talk as long as you'd like. I want you to say anything and everything you want to say. Get it off your chest. It's all you.
Ooh, where do I begin? Well, again, thank you for having me here. I'm glad that Spotlight brought us together. It's nice to be a part of a community of people that have similar interests as you, because like I said, I was saying earlier, like I'm obsessed with reality TV and social strategy games, but like no one in my real life shares those same passions really in the way that I do. So having this community is a big thing, and I definitely attribute that a lot to just putting myself out there and auditioning for Sequester, or signing up for Sequester. And I remember back to that time, like even after that first game, already feeling so like just welcomed in the community and wanting to just play more and more and more and more. And um, while there are like lots of different games out there, like you will get no's sometimes, but it's I want people to know that like just keep going for it. Like don't stop trying. Like I remember after the first time I played Sequester, I wanted to play again immediately, but it wasn't again for like 2 months that I got to play. And I remember like also like shortly after my game, they had done like an all-star month where they were calling back like all stars from all the different games. And I remember each week like, oh my God, I'm gonna get the email this week. They're gonna call me back for all stars, they're gonna call me back for all stars. And it never happened. And I remember how like crushed I was by that. I was so sad. But then 2 weeks later, I won my first game sequester. And then the next game, I won again. So it's like you never know what can happen if you just keep going and keep trying and like stay with it. So I definitely want to tell people that. And then yeah, just on a personal note, like also if you have the chance to sign up for an LRG, I 1000% say go for it. I did one back was 2022. Yeah, summer of 2022. I did Live to Give. It's a charity based LRG, and each person plays for a charity of their choice. And all together, we raised over $42,000. So like it was literally such an amazing thing to be a part of, and I made lifelong friends doing that, and I learned so much about myself doing it. I also just did my second LRG back at the beginning of April. It's called the Turncloaks. That will be coming out sometime soon. They haven't given us a premiere date, but it's based on the traders. And I had a lot of fun doing that, and it's super exciting. I'm going to film another LRG in like 2 weeks. That one I can't talk about because it's not all publicly released yet. But yeah, I've got a lot of things coming up that I'm really excited about. And then also, I'm open to doing some more orgs. So like, if you know anything, feel like I would be a good fit, definitely like reach out. I love talking to people in the DMs and love playing these games. So yeah, and then just my music again, streaming platforms. I'm MQ. Look for my EP Fem. I've got a lot in the works. I'm really hoping to put up a substantial amount of music either towards the end of this year or early next year and really get back into doing that. So yeah, I think that's all I've got right now.
Oh my goodness, you are just amazing with everything that you have. I am personally going to go and find you to listen to some of your music because I've been looking for some new stuff to listen to on my days, and you are going to be added to my daily list for sure. And I'm so
I
excited.
love that.
I recommend anybody else to do it. It's always good to have a good variety of music in your days. To anybody listening who's struggling with anything mental health, there are so many resources out there available for you. My biggest recommendation is to go to Dr. Google. Type in, I'm struggling with anxiety, I'm struggling with depression, I'm struggling with this. Research your symptoms, whatever it may be. Don't struggle alone. There's tons of resources out there. You just have to go and find them. They're not going to come to you. But when you find them, they are absolutely incredible and they really can help you. So I recommend anybody just find the help however you need to find the help because it's not fun struggling alone.
Completely agree.
Yeah, absolutely. But for now, we'll let everybody go. I wish everybody such a beautiful day. Peace, love, and buttercups, you guys. Bye.
Ciao for now.